We know who will be watching the polls closely this morning is Minnesota's top election official. And this morning we're joined by Secretary of State Steve Simon. And thanks for being here on a busy day for you.
Of course, happy election day.
We know you've done a lot of work to get to this point today. Have you been by any of the polls so far this morning, now that we've been open an hour and a half? And any issues popping up so far?
So I have a full day of stopping by polling places, none yet, but I have gotten reports, including minutes before I came here, and things are going really well. Smooth sailing for the most part. You have that morning rush, you have maybe an afternoon rush, but so far pretty tranquil.
Good to hear.
Here in Minnesota, we hear you brag about it all the time. We have usually an incredible voter turnout. What are you projecting for this election day as far as turnout goes?
Well, turnout's going to be high. There's no question, for so many reasons. We've got good laws, we've got people excited about a presidential election, we've got one of our own on the ticket, all those reasons. I'm going for high turnout and low drama. That's what I'm going with, and I think we're going to get there. I really do. Minnesotans love to vote. A little rain isn't going to stop us. It never has in the past. We're shooting for #1 in the country. We just want to make sure everyone has the information they need to cast their ballot today.
Tell us what has changed here in Minnesota since we last voted for a president.
A couple of things, but one that's noteworthy today is for those who have an outstanding absentee ballot, there's a new rule in place. You got to get your ballot in by 8 p.m. It used to be a lot earlier. Now you can go right up until the polls close. So if that thing is sitting on your kitchen table right now or on your couch, you can get it in, you can hand deliver it, or have someone you know hand deliver it for you. That's one change that's really relevant to today.
Sure. I think a lot of people this morning too are asking, okay, what's next? 2020 was a bit different of a cycle, being in the middle of the pandemic. What can we expect next when it comes to results here in Minnesota?
Yeah, so in Minnesota, our laws dictate that all ballots have to be in by the close of polls tonight, which means that by the time we're all eating breakfast tomorrow morning, we're almost certainly going to have all or substantially all of the results. But, and this is important, other states have different laws. And the fact that counting will be going on in those states tomorrow and the next day and the next day is not a sign that anything is bad or went wrong or anyone's up to no good. It's the opposite. They're following their state's laws. So I just want folks to not have unrealistic expectations. It's possible that we might not have full results in other states. In Minnesota, within hours of the polling place, certainly by breakfast, we should be good to go.
We carried your news conference yesterday live during the 11 a.m. news here on Fox 9 and found out 1.1 million people have voted early. That's right. Is that some kind of record? And what do we think that bodes for today with people who actually come to the polls?
Well, it's more than double where we were in 2016, 8 years ago. 4 years ago was a little different. That threw off the averages a bit because that was sky high because people wanted to vote from home. They didn't want to go to crowded places because of COVID. But it's more than double where we were 8 years ago. That tells me that overall enthusiasm is high, no matter where people sit or stand politically. It tells me that we'll probably get a lot of turnout here today as well. I'm looking for us to perhaps bust a record for Minnesota.
All right.
Yeah.
We also hear a lot about election security, kind of this word. What does that mean here in Minnesota, and how have folks, especially people working the polling places, been preparing for today?
Yeah, this has been preparation going back not just months but years. We have a ton of partners, federal, state, local. This is a team effort. Remember, we don't count the votes in our office. That happens locally at thousands of places. It's your friends and neighbors counting the vote. So we've been particularly engaged in the last couple of years on physical security, not just cybersecurity, but physical, making sure that we have policies in place and the people in place to make sure that it is a tranquil, easy experience, a low drama experience for voters and for the election workers. We got 30,000 folks out there. Thank them today, by the way, if you see them. The election judges, they're stepping up, 30,000 of them across the state of Minnesota. We want them safe too.
We want Minnesota nice is what we want.
I like what you said. High turnout, low drama.
That's it.
Secretary of State Steve Simon, thanks for dropping by. We know you have a busy day. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a reminder, we will have nonstop election coverage today starting at 3 p.m. on Fox Local. Then we will go on air at 5 p.m. We'll stay on air all night long, bringing you the very latest election results. You can follow along with us also at fox9.com.